Welcome back to DecoyNoise, where today we're doing 3 more stories from r/Am I the A-hole and taking them to Decoy Court. But first, I gotta give out today's Decoy coin of the day, which is going to Barbara Storeball. Barbara's been around the Decoy Koi pond for a very long time and is always giving good, well thought out feedback to every single story, and I always have to recognize it because she is doing an amazing job of breaking down why I'm wrong half the time. So if you want to be a part of that Decoy Koi pond, make sure you subscribe down below and make sure you turn on those notifications so you can watch the videos every day at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But getting to the featured post of the day, which is the update to Am I the Antagonist for grounding my daughter for being inappropriate to her stepbrother? So going back in time like Tarantino, we gotta go to the original story, which is where Reddit said they were not the antagonist for this. So OP wrote, to start off, my ex-wife and I split up when my daughter was about 4 years old. It was an amicable decision, and me and her are still friends. We have dinners together with our daughter at least once every couple of months since the divorce. My daughter loves these times, and we get to talk about being boring co-parenting stuff when we finish dinner and our parent is out of earshot. I met my current wife when my daughter was 10, and she had a 13-year-old son. They got along, and she always seemed to want to hang out with him more than he wanted to be with her. I didn't think anything of it, just figured she thought he was cool and looked up to him. She used to beg for the two of them to have sleepovers in the living room and things. My stepson had never complained to me about this. My daughter is now 12 and my stepson is 15, and we live a pretty boring life together, but last week I heard my daughter scream, crying from her brother's room. I went to investigate and she was standing with their fist clenched and red in the face. My daughter was laying there on the ground, sobbing and hyperventilating. Immediately I separated the two, and I started by talking to my daughter. She told me that her stepbrother said he hated her and he doesn't ever want her to talk to him again, and then pushed her to where I found her. I went to my stepson after talking to my daughter and confronted him. He admitted to the words but not the shoving, and he said something that really freaked me out. He had just taken a shower and had come from the bathroom to his room, but apparently he didn't hear the door latch closed. When he finished getting dressed and turned to leave, he saw the door was cracked and my daughter was on the other side. That's when he flipped out on her and told her to leave him alone and not to ever talk to him. I honestly didn't know what to think. I went back to my daughter, and after a bit of prodding, she confessed and she was curious and seemed really embarrassed. I got really upset and told her what an invasion of privacy that was, and how would she like it if she found someone looking at her in the way that he found her. I told her I was going to take away her laptop and her phone, and she freaked out. She called my ex before I knew it, and when she handed me the phone, my ex was on speaker, scolding me for something so trivial, that every preteen teenager gets curious sometimes. I told her it didn't matter. Her curiosity shouldn't impede my stepson's safety in my house, and vice versa if it happened the other way around. My daughter started screaming the way that she wanted her live her life with her, and she started to scream that she wanted to live with her mom, and the next day my ex came to pick her up. My daughter is refusing to answer my calls or come for visitation, which used to be 50-50 split. My ex-wife says she's appalled about my clear favoritism towards my stepson, and I just want my daughter back. Am I the antagonist? Should I apologize? So obviously there's a update to this, but taking it to Decoy Court it's a situation where it's just, of course, the stepmom or his ex-wife is going to be, not stepmom, his ex-wife and the daughter's real mom is just going to take her side because it's going to be a way to leverage more time with the daughter and get away from OP, so it kind of works out in their favor, even though it's kind of not the way it really went down. Of course you have to stand up for your stepson. Of course this needs to be a situation that's not okay. It shouldn't be you do something bad, you have a couple consequences for it, and now you get your way in a different where there's no like a 50-50 split. I don't get that. So I don't think that OP is the antagonist, but we'll kind of shoot over to those top comments and see what they're saying. And the top comment is, not the antagonist. Your daughter was being inappropriate. You should point out to your ex that she would be pissed if your stepson did it to your daughter. If it's inappropriate for one, it's inappropriate for the other. Very true. And OP came back to say, when I said that during our initial conversation, she said something like, that's different. He's older and therefore has more power over her. That's not word for word, but it made me upset to hear. So it just seemed like it was a situation where they were going to leverage the decision, leverage no matter what the actual thing that happened. They're just going to use it to leverage against OP. So it was kind of unwinnable war, but I don't think they're being the antagonist. So probably just needs to be some more conversations as to, what really genuinely happened. But let's go ahead and shoot over to that update already to see what actually happened afterwards. So OP says, a lot has happened since my last post. I have been DM'd asking for an update. It's been a long time since my last post, and a lot of the advice and support giving was heartwarming. There's the original post. Now on to the update. My ex-wife for a long time was on my daughter's side. Eventually her and I had a long discussion, and it was clear after that my daughter had twisted the story to seem more accidental. We both agreed that staying with my ex was the best for her until she agrees to seek therapy. 2 weeks ago, she finally relented and started her first session on Thursday. Wife and stepson all discussed the idea of coming back for visitation once she had the help she needs. We even installed a padlock on my stepson's door at his request to make him feel more safe. We plan on going back to our monthly dinners with my ex and daughter slowly, but hoping that therapy will help her. My stepson refused therapy and said he just doesn't trust her like he used to. I want to thank everyone for their advice and kind words, and I'd like to thank the mod team for dealing with my BS regarding this whole post. In a few weeks, if my daughter is comfortable, I may join to get a better perspective on what she's thinking. He's truly hopeful is what he's truly hopeful that things will get better over time, but this hasn't been a huge improvement, considering she absolutely refused every time it was brought up and tried to say that her stepbrother was the problem. So seems like a happy ending where they actually were able to get the truth out of it. I think it's a valuable lesson to see from this, where it's a situation that oftentimes people will tell the MIT antagonist story in a way that's very beneficial to them, omit some incriminating evidence, and then just try to get people to make decisions based on that. That's why I think the decoy defense would be such an important thing, and I guess it could be a situation where maybe they just pick that fight just to get out of OP's house, where they don't like staying with the older brother and he's kind of bully, or they don't like the new mom. There's probably something else, like if the daughter and OP's new wife or new girlfriend, whoever the mother of the stepbrother is, if they just don't get along, maybe that's a situation that would be very, very important to the story, but it's just not even brought up just to kind of, mitigate that part of it. So we'll go ahead and shoot over the top comments of this post as well, saying, I'm glad your ex-wife understands the situation now and that your daughter has agreed to seek therapy. Kudos to you for standing up for your stepson's right to feel comfortable in his home. I hope the therapy helps your daughter and she's able to work through her issues. Though she may have ruined her relationship with your stepson, only time will tell, which is a fair assessment to that, hopefully they can move on, but maybe not. That's up to him. And the next reply was, sounds to me like some important general rule was learned. Don't assume the other parent got the same story as what happened. And then OP came back to say agreed, and that's true. It's like, and that's the same with Am I the Antagonist stories. Don't just assume that a post at face value is how it is, because oftentimes in the comments they end up admitting to other stuff, and you always got to look through the subtext. And I feel like that's why you would want to subscribe to DecoyNoise, because I try to see the subtext of the situation and kind of see if they're trying to omit something or hide something, or if there's just some other part of it that just doesn't quite make sense. So let's go ahead and shoot over to that second story of the day, which is, am I the antagonist for refusing to return a computer I bought after the store called and told me I paid the wrong price for it? Reddit says that they're not the antagonist, but we'll be the judge of that. OP writes, last week I went to a local pawn shop to sell some stuff. While I was there, I was window shopping and saw they had a computer for $89. I only use a computer for YouTube or websites, and my laptop is pretty old, so I tested this computer. Everything worked, so I bought it. The next day I got a call, and it was from the manager of the shop. He was very rude from the start and told me the computer was labeled incorrectly, and told me, didn't ask, rudely ordered me to come in that day and either A, return the computer, or B, pay the difference. I asked what the difference was, and he said over $800. I guess he was supposed to be labeled $899. I said I'd think about it, and he said that if I wasn't in by the end of the day, he'd charge my card the amount. I told him that he can't do that, and he said if I didn't bring it in or pay the difference, he was gonna ban me from the store and also call the police for theft. I just said I'd think about it again. I think he was mad because the last thing he said to me was, listen, jerk, either bring it in or you'll go to jail, your choice, or you decide, something like that. Then ended the call. I don't think the police can even do anything because the price sticker is still on the computer and I have a receipt for the transaction for the $89, and there's probably also camera footage of me buying it, and he must have recorded the purchase too. It's not my fault that him or an employee labeled it incorrectly, and it's not like I knew it was a wrong price when I bought it. I just saw a cheap computer that worked and bought it. I asked my friend who's into computers to look at it and to see if it's actually worth that much, or if the guy's just trying to scam me or something, and he said the parts are pretty high-end and expensive. I don't think I did anything wrong, but my friend said that I should take it back, so I don't know. So taking the case over to Decoy Court, and the situation is, you catch more bees or catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And if he was probably nice and friendly about it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my shop. The lockdowns, everything. I sold the computer. The guy came back from the pawn shop to pick up the computer. And me and my family are going to starve today if you don't bring him back or maybe pay the difference. Can you do that for me, buddy? Please. maybe pretty please, we'll help you hook you up with another laptop. He most definitely would have went back there and helped the guy out. But since he's came back there so entitled, tried to threaten him with police, tried to threaten him with fraudulently charging his card, tried to threaten him with everything under the sun, he's definitely not going to get it. So just in the sense of being petty or being the antagonist themselves, I'm going to say that OP's not the antagonist. The guy, all the things he's threatening, those aren't real, so he's the antagonist. But I guess the decoy defense would be is possibly OP went in there and swapped the prices himself and was like, let's see if this cashier here is dumb enough to give me a brand new MacBook Pro for $89. Let's see if that works. And he fooled them, and then now they're actually saying like, hey, I can't believe you did that. Come back and pay the difference. We know what you did. You always come in here and do that all the time. Pay the difference. And he's like, no, I won this time. You don't control me. So that would be the reason that they are the antagonist, but I don't really believe that. We'll take a brief recess in Decoy Court. Let me know what you think about story number 2. Does OP need to bring back that laptop? I don't know, but we'll go ahead and shoot over to that top comment right now, which is not the antagonist. Personally, I'd be calling the police to report that you were threatened by this person and now you don't feel safe, and probably would be true. Next reply, yep, absolutely. He wants to throw around threats and file a police report, right? Good grief. Okay, so there's a lot of that, and it's true. They should probably, like, you know, what's good for OP will be good for the shopkeeper too. The next reply is not the antagonist. The manager is just mad that he needs to eat a $800 loss. It's actually his fault, because in the end, he's the one responsible. You bought the computer, you have a receipt, and honestly, it's yours now. You don't need to take it back. His threats are BS. The only one of real merit, he can ban you from the store, but really, I wouldn't shop there after this anyway. That's true. It's like, you know, whenever you see a customer in a restaurant saying, I'm never going to eat here again, you guys are B's and F you and all that stuff, it's like, yeah, we don't want you here either. Big threat, a rude customer is not going to come back to our shop. Big threat, a guy that threatened, or big whoop, a guy that's threatening me over the phone to call the police and try to overcharge me $800 on something I already bought is telling me I can't shop there anymore. No, nobody cares. It's good for everybody that nobody shops, or that OP doesn't return. But let's shoot over to those controversial comments to see if there's anything else, and there is. Everyone sucks here. He was the antagonist to you for sure. He went about this wrong, but in the end, you are too. It seemed too good to be true because it was, and now you know that. Sure, you have every legal right to keep it, but that doesn't put you on a moral high ground. Mistakes happen. Even though it's hard to blame you because he treated you badly, you're still not being empathetic to the loss that the store now has to take. All in all, I wouldn't dwell on it. The dude was a jerk and maybe had it coming, but I wouldn't feel righteous about it like many other commenters here are. It's a small retail business during a lockdown who will likely now have even more trouble keeping the lights on. It's people's lives too. It's not just who can win at capitalism. And I do understand the last sentiment on that, because a lockdown is going to put a lot of stress on a lot of different families, but it doesn't give you the right to be a jerk to someone and threaten them with jail time, or threaten them that you're going to overcharge their credit card when this person's probably a little more passive and they just are unsure as to what they should do. No, that's not, you don't want to reward that type of behavior and that type of business, practice. The idea is, oh, who can win at capitalism? Well, they definitely aren't when they're trying to give that type of customer service. And also the idea is, you need to be empathetic to the store. I don't think that this is, to me, the equivalency of me buying a lotto ticket at a liquor store, and once I realized, oh, I won $100, like, whoa, we didn't know that was a winning lottery ticket. Give it back to us. No. I have a business to run. I can't be just giving you $100, sell it back to me for $2 or pay the difference of $98 because now we know it's worth more. That's not the way business works. I don't think that OP needs to do anything, so Decoy Court will stand firm. OP is not the antagonist. But as always, we have a third story, even though the other story was a two-parter, but this third story is, am I the antagonist if I tell my boyfriend not to refer to and introduce me as his wife? Reddit has judged them not the antagonist, but Decoy Court is final. So OP says, a 30-year-old female boyfriend, a 33-year-old male, have been together for over 5 years and have a 1-year-old son together. We've been homeless together, lost a baby together, and slowly built our lives back up. He never liked the idea of marriage, saying, I don't see why the government has to be involved, and why should we have to prove our love to anyone? I get it, but a marriage/proposal is very important to me. He said he'd marry me because he plans on being with me indefinitely anyway, and thinks it'll be good for our son. During my pregnancy, he mentioned several times that he wanted to get married before our son was born. I waited, but never got a proposal or anything. Last month was our 5-year anniversary, and I thought it'd be great to get married that day. I was heartbroken, and he still never proposed, especially because he proposed to his last girlfriend before me with a ring and everything. I let the idea of a romantic proposal go and reminded myself that marrying him was the most important part. He said if we could pull it off, he was fine with it. He wanted nothing to do with setting it up, which was okay with me. Even for our baby shower, he said he didn't want to hear about it, so a family friend and I took care of it ourselves. I changed my schedule at work, picked a location, time, 2 witnesses, and someone ordained to officiate. It was meant to be a small ceremony just to sign the license to make it legal. I ran some of the details by him throughout the planning and kept agreeing that they were fine. 2 days before the wedding, the day I planned to go get the license, he said he felt forced and pushed into getting married and didn't like the idea of doing it now. So I had to cancel everything and explain to everyone at work when they asked how the wedding went, and it was pathetic and humiliating. I went into a major depressive episode and didn't think we would be together much longer. He said he'd definitely marry me eventually, but not now. I told him after what happened, I would never bring up marriage to him again. His response was, okay, great, that's awesome. Not sarcastic at all, just completely relieved and happy. But I also told him that I wouldn't be his girlfriend forever. He didn't seem bothered by that. He was just happy that I'd shut the heck up about getting married to him. He recently introduced me to someone as, this is my wife, Alicia. It felt like a slap in the effing face. He referred to me as his wife occasionally throughout the years before the wedding fiasco, but the fact that he still today calls me his wife really upsets me, because he effed off that chance when he had it. Would I be the antagonist if I told him I don't appreciate being called his wife after everything that happened and not to refer to me as such? I want to make sure I'm not in the wrong before I bring it up and potentially cause an argument over it. So taking the case over to Decoy Court with the sad situation over here is OP, he doesn't want to marry you, I'm sorry. He doesn't want to marry you, he barely wants to date you, there's a kid involved, you're sticking together for that, but he's not treating you right. I hate this, the whole mantra on Reddit is, oh, go see a lawyer, get a divorce, hit the gym, delete Facebook, but honestly, this is where it's at right now. Doesn't respect you too well, doesn't want to get married to you, led you along for a very long time that he did want to get married and ultimately pulled out. No, you don't really have anything to lose. You don't want to get in an argument over this, but I mean, it's time to stand up for yourself, and it's very sad, but OP, you're definitely not the antagonist. A boyfriend, it's not wrong to not want to get married and not want to have the government involved in a relationship, but it is wrong to lie about it the entire time and mislead someone so they hold on, because OP should be able to just be a co-parent, single woman out there finding someone that does want to marry her, that does want to start a life with her and give her the life that she always wanted, not being tied down by a dude that will never commit to her in the way that she wants. They're more entitled to have an amicable breakup, but they don't want the same thing. So yeah, that's Decoy Court. I guess the Decoy defense would be is the entire time when they said, okay, I really want to get married, I really want to get married. And it wasn't just like kind of hinting at it or saying we should. It was actually like, if you want to be involved in this baby's life, you have to do it. You have to get the marriage license. It's gonna happen on this day with these people, with this officiant. And then just OP's boyfriend was like, okay, no fights. I just want you to be okay. Be all your hormones are out of whack right now. I'll just say yes. And then when it came down to it, and he realized, wow, I really don't want to get married to this person. He finally backed out. It was just him standing up for himself and from being bullied into getting married. That's not what happened, because obviously OP doesn't seem like a very in-your-face type of person, and said it was pathetic and humiliating. I don't think it's that, but the Decoy defense just has to be there to defend the indefensible. So if you like what's going on there, make sure you subscribe, but also take a brief recess right now. Let me know your thoughts with story number 3, and does OP need to be apologizing for admitting what she wants? Let me know down below, but let's go ahead and shoot over to that top comment right now, which is not the antagonist. After something like that, I'd correct him in public with something like, no, I'm his girlfriend. I would have been his wife, but he recently backed out of our wedding. I feel you deserve some clarity. He doesn't want to marry you, but he feels a need to introduce you as his wife. I think it makes more sense in the context of them having a family, but yeah, you don't reap the benefits and none of the I don't want to say drawbacks to being married, but yeah, you don't get to have it both ways. The top controversial comment that got those light bulb, I don't even know what this is, like light bulbs in thunder, but they say, not the antagonist. Here are some things you are now free to do that would not make you the antagonist. Get your own apartment, get child support, start dating other people who want what they say, who mean what they say, and you do not need to discuss any of the above with him, because nothing this man has to say means anything. This man is a joke. And I hate to devolve him into he's just a joke because the one thing he doesn't want to get married and backed out in the last second, but it is true that she needs to move on to get what she actually wants. And, you don't ever want to have a marriage based on ultimatums or anything like that, but sometimes that would be the swift kick in his butt that he needs to finally, settle down and just accept the fact that they have a family together, they should get married. Is the idea of losing her to somebody else may make him kind of come around. You don't want it to be that way, but sometimes that's just how it shakes down. But let's go ahead and shoot over to those top controversial comments, because this one got heavily downvoted, but they said, not the antagonist. You two need to have a long conversation. He did not understand what you said when you wouldn't bring up the marriage again. You two are talking past each other. If you want to be his wife, let him know. Stop playing games. If he doesn't want to marry you, he owes it to you to say that. You two are completely on different pages. This is worth having an argument over. I agree with the idea of this is worth having an argument over, but they said, hey, you two are talking past to each other. If you want to be his wife, let him know. Stop playing games. I think that the whole letting him know was having the engagement, having the marriage certificate, the officiant, the day plan, the witnesses, all of that situation was her communicating that she wanted to be married and him backing out with him saying, I don't want to be married. I don't want anything to do with that. So they're not playing games. She's being clear. He's playing games, and that's just not her fault. So Decoy Court again stands firm. OP's not the antagonist, but if you like the idea that I'm doing kind of a different take to Reddit, Am I the Antagonist, or Reddit Reads in general with more personality, more of a podcast feel, make sure you subscribe down below, share the video with somebody else, or just turn the notifications on, because as you know, you could be subscribed to me, get automatically unsubscribed, or just never see my videos in your feed. So if you like to see this stuff and want to take a nice refreshing break from whatever you got going online or going on offline, make sure you can always hop online to DecoyNoise every day at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to take a nice, relaxing drama courtroom thing we got going on here. But if nothing else, just go ahead and put this on play and check out one of those other episodes I have right now.